Mic'd up.
Lights from Lowlifes. Highlights from Lowlifes.
All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to Highlights from Lowlifes in 2025. We have some folks that haven't been with us for a while. Terry Lee is back after some massive shoulder surgery. Can you raise your arm now?
Good one or bad one?
Yeah, both. Give us
Actually,
a comparison.
the new shoulder, I'm doing pretty good. I had a complete shoulder reconstruction, reverse they call it, and I am doing okay.
All right.
Probably about 2 months now. 9 weeks
Nice.
later, I'm hanging in there. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. And we also have Teddy Bear Tetlow. Brent is with us tonight.
Happy New Year, buddy.
The day before he leaves for his fantasy camp. Thank you for joining us.
Very nice.
And then Mr. Lannerman in his Bad News Bears jersey. And is that an almanac hat?
It indeed is.
Wow,
Nice.
That's some nice merch.
I have my Betty Ford Clinic hat. So.
I love that hat.
Did you earn that?
Outpatient.
Yeah. It's not just for anyone, Terry. It's only for outpatients.
I see.
All right. Well, to kick off the new year, we have a fun topic tonight. Another serious topic. Top 5 baseball personalities that you think would be good stand-up comedians. All right. So it's strictly subjective here. We can argue about it, but nobody's wrong, nobody's right. It's just what we think, based upon our years of following the game. Some of us have been exposed to a lot of different baseball players in their personal life. We get to learn a little bit more about them at these fantasy camps, and some of these guys are absolutely hilarious. And then would that translate to the stage? Well, sometimes we've actually seen them give speeches, albeit prepared, that are very, very funny. So, let's delve into that topic tonight. Again, the Lowlifes are a group of Northern California Bay Area senior baseball players. We got together on Zoom calls during the pandemic to make sure that everybody's mental health was doing well, and these evolved into top 5 sessions. We had homework for our Zoom calls.
Got a question. What's beyond senior baseball? Because we're moving on.
That would be death.
Oh.
The field of dreams.
Yeah.
Okay. More surgeries, I guess.
Yeah.
So we got introduced to the folks at Mic'd Up, and they liked the concept after I talked them into it. And here we are with episode 71.
Wow.
Nice.
So, yeah. So let's kick it off. Robbie, what is your number 5 pick here?
Well, number 5 for me, it's right out in the name. It's got to be Dizzy Dean.
Oh yeah.
I'm mostly going old school with these guys tonight. I think I have 1 or 2 modern era guys, but Dizzy Dean for me. Reading some of the quotes, hearing and seeing some of the old videos, and that guy would hold a press conference on a game he didn't even start. So he loved dealing with the press, which means this is a guy that would be able to perform in front of the audience. And some of his choice lines are: the doctors x-rayed my head and found nothing. And this, my personal favorite, I'll save this one for last. He's got another one. He said, when asked if he eats the foods he endorsed, Dizzy Dean said, "Sure, I do. I eat what I advertise. I eat Wheaties for breakfast. A good bowl of Wheaties with a bourbon can't be beat." And he said, I only went as far as third grade in school because my dad went to fourth and I didn't want to pass him up. And then my favorite improvised Dizzy Dean moment is when he was a broadcaster and he said, look at that young couple down there. They're kissing after every pitch. He's kissing her on the strikes and she's kissing him on the balls.
Oh, ba-dum-bum.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, because you were in the stands.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's my number 5.
All right.
That's awesome.
Very
good.
cool.
Well, with the triumphant return of the tiger, let's turn to him.
Well, thanks. All right. Well, my number 5 is someone I used to play golf in this really great golf tournament. Thank you, Robbie. And we got hooked up with Mike Tiny Felder.
Oh,
And that guy is a ball of energy. And we had 4 to 5 hours worth of Tiny Felder, and that man should be a stand-up comic. He played for the Giants in 85 to 94. He's a Bay Area guy, outfielder. He's from Vallejo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's
that is number 5 is Tiny, Mike Tiny Felder.
I think he was a Willie
familiar?
Mack Award winner too,
Yes,
wasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
He's a
really
great guy.
super nice guy, and fun to be around. Super high energy.
He is. Yeah.
he likes to laugh and he likes to make you laugh.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
He's not a quiet guy on the golf
No.
course.
Oh no.
We had a lot of fun out there and the Northern Lights golf tournament. Thanks again, Robbie. Rob, Webby.
All right. Let's see. So I think a lot of these guys, when they're playing ball, you don't necessarily know too much about how funny they are, but some of these guys became announcers. And then you get to see a side of their personality you might not have seen before. Former Giant, Padre, Astro, Mariner, Mark Grant. Has to be one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Oh yeah.
You can be having just a regular conversation and he'll slip in a joke that you weren't ready for and you start busting up laughing. He became an announcer for the Padres, and he and his first partner in San Diego, Matt Vasgersian, they made it a habit of breaking each other up on the air during the game. Most of the fans liked it. Some of them didn't, because they didn't think it was reflective of baseball. But I thought it was everything that's fun about the game. And just a quick story about him, the type of sense of humor that he has at fantasy camp. He came out to Kangaroo Court one day dressed in only his jock, and he was angry. He said, I come down to these fantasy camps to show you guys a good time, and all I ask is that you keep your hands off my stuff. I am angry, and I won't have any more of it. Whoever took my toothbrush, you return it right away, no questions asked. And he turned around, walked out of the room, and the toothbrush was wedged between his butt cheeks. So, just incredibly funny guy. All right.
Mark Grant was one of the, in 2003, my rookie year, he was one of the coaches at fantasy camp.
Yeah.
And Teddy Bear, you might remember him singing on the karaoke machine is right there by the home plate. They had a karaoke machine, and they were doing little announcing and stuff like that. I think in the first couple of days they would have their announcements out there, and he grabbed the mic and he started singing a cappella really, really badly. And he turned up that machine to 11.
That sounds like Mark.
God, it was so hilarious. I'll never forget that.
Yep, that's mud.
Yeah.
All right, Brent, finish out with your number 5 pick here.
Okay, he's a right-handed pitcher for the Giants and the Angels, and his nickname is Moon Man, or we call him Mooney. It was Greg Mitten. He was my first coach at fantasy camp the rookie year. Him and Gary LaBelle, and I was lucky to have Mooney. He was a great guy to have as a rookie. He was so full of funny stories. He had the whole dugout laughing almost every game. And whether it was, hijacking the team bus or losing his shorts as he's floating down the river on an inner tube and his car keys were in him. So he had to hitch a ride back with nothing but a towel wrapped around him. And he was trying to convince somebody to stop for him. Because, you're not going to stop for a guy just without a towel wrapped around him. Anyhow. It was funny. I'm sure he could just stand up at the mic and have the place cracking up with stories. He did it
Yep.
all week long, and it was fantastic being my rookie year. And he's still a good friend. I'm friend with him on Facebook. We talk a little bit here and there, and sometimes we can convince him to come out to camp, even though he's not a coach anymore. But him and his wife, KJ, uh, they come out and we have a good conversation and yuck it up a little bit. But yeah, Greg Mitten, he was fun.
Good one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move it into round 4. Brent, who is going to lead off here?
I'm going to lead off. Okay. How about somebody that actually made the transition from baseball player? He played at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and he was drafted by the White Sox. And he was a comedian in Las Vegas, having shows at the Rio and the Stratosphere. His name is Danny Gans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And I remember his baseball career was cut short a little bit when he suffered a torn Achilles by a player's spikes as he was fielding a ground ball. But he had a small part in the movie Bull Durham, too, playing third base. But
Mhm.
when I was in Vegas for something, the company sent me there for a show or something. But his name was all over the cabs there in um, Las Vegas. I didn't know that he played baseball, but I didn't go to his show. But anyway, he actually made the transition. He made the transition.
I have seen his show.
Have you?
It's very good. It's very
Oh,
good.
good.
It's a little bit more than a comedy show. There's a little bit of magic involved.
Oh,
Um, he knew a little bit magic, and um, he was really good at interacting with the audience as well. So
cool.
bring people up on stage.
Robbie, how about you get give us your number 4?
all right. Number 4. Again, we're sticking with the old guys.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you could argue Euchre is the funniest guy, but I would counter argue that this guy might have been the funniest guy in the moment. I'm pretty sure he would have been a good stand-up comedian, but the difference between a stand-up comedian and a funny guy is the guys that are quick-witted, can react to what is asked of them and respond in a funny way. And I don't know that there was anybody ever better than Casey Stengel
Oh,
with being able to just respond, go with the questions that he was asked. And I got a couple here. When he was when he was managing the Mets, the press asked him about losing 120 games, and he said, "I can tell you it was a team effort." They asked him about a slumping player on his team, and he said, "Well, his teammates say he's unlucky right now, and I say if he keeps swinging like that, he's going to be unlucky for his whole career."
Yike.
When the Dodgers fired him as the manager, he said, "So much for the past, as for the present, I think I have a future." And my favorite, Tony Kubek is interviewing him on the Game of the Week, late in Casey's life, and Tony said, "I have never seen anyone who drinks beer as fast as you." Casey said, "Well, it's been that way since the accident." Tony Kubek said, "What accident?" He goes, "Someone knocked my beer over." So somebody that can think like that and react like that, he's definitely up there. Casey Stengel, that's my number 4.
Good job.
So
What?
he had a good line when Hobie Landreth was drafted by the Mets, and the reporters asked him, "Well, why'd you take Hobie Landreth?" And he says, "Well, every team needs a catcher. If you don't have one, the ball ends up back at the backstop.
Well, let's pass it over to you, Webby.
All right. This guy was known as one of baseball's best pranksters, and a good prankster will not let you in that he is the one responsible for it. A really good prankster is the one that shifts the blame to somebody else who had absolutely nothing to do with the situation.
That is a good prankster.
In terms of clubhouse guys that kept everybody loose and ready to go, Roger McDowell, the pitcher for the
Oh,
Mets for many years,
really?
kind of a co-closer with Jesse Orosco. Everywhere that Roger went, post Mets, he was the clubhouse prankster, the guy that would set somebody's foot on fire with matches and set their shoestrings on fire and you have them hopping around the dugout and then was able to shift the blame over to somebody else. He would take a guy's locker and nail the doors shut on the locker so he couldn't get to his stuff after the game. Just this kind of stuff. And it fits with a relief pitcher who'd got nothing to do the first 6, 7 innings of the game, and so they've got time to kill and
Or
come
think
up
up
with
stuff.
something. Yeah, yeah. But in interviews, he's very dry sense of humor. Um, very rarely lets on that he's responsible for any of this stuff. Denies everything. He's just great. Even when they show video, he'll just like, "Wow, that guy looks like me, but I don't think it is." All right, Tara, what do you got?
Well, I also played golf with this gentleman at the same golf tournament, Shooty Babbitt. And we've all seen him at he's like the commish at other tournaments and things like that. And he's another high energy um, individual. He played with the A's in '81. He's an infielder. Uh, don't ever call Shooty Tiny, and don't ever call Tiny Shooty.
But they're built pretty much the same.
They're very easy to mix up, and
Yeah.
and I actually did that, and I heard it for three or four holes. He is not. He's not the other guy, but very funny, high energy, uh, really quick witted and fun guy. Shooty
Well,
Babbitt.
interestingly enough, Tara, Bip Roberts has resurfaced and is considering coming back on the air, and one of his first guests will probably be Shooty Babbitt.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. He's coming to camp this year where I'm going.
Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's end of round 4. Rob, what should we do now? What should we do?
Well, it's my favorite part of the show, a little segment we like to call "What You Drinking." And as always, the highlights from Low Life Show is sponsored by our good friends at Almanac Brewing, one of America's leading craft brewers, and that is no hyperbole. They really are great craft brewers. We all drink different things every show and talk about what we're drinking. Tonight, I'm back on the Almanac Porch Light Lager. This is part of their lager series. It's their winter lager, and I love it because of the fact that it's super rich and flavorful, and yet uh, easy to crush. You can drink a bunch of them. The one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Oh.
So,
Wow.
anyway, what are you guys drinking?
Hey, I'm just impressed that you use the word hyperbole.
Well,
have a few more hugs.
Oh, nice.
And you can't pronounce hyperbole either.
Yeah.
The Hugs Hefeweizen. It's Smiles for Miles, right there on the can. It's a German style brew crafted with love and affection. Almanac
Nice.
Hugs.
That's a good one.
Try one of those. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Almanac
Oh.
True Kolsch.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with these, and I'm glad they make them year round. But it is a crisp, flavorful beer. I love a Kolsch, and this one is just perfect. Jonesy, I had this one for you today, first day of the year. You got to stick with the Kolsch. It's always a good one.
Good choice. I like to go last because I can't pronounce this beer. It's the Almanac Zap
Zap,
Pill.
zap.
Zap pills.
It's a crisp, refreshing, and clean. Um, let's see what it's got. German style Pilsner brewed with German malts and hops with two ingredients I cannot pronounce, but I like it. And I'm drinking it tonight in my brand new Stanley mug, which
Wow.
keeps my beer nice and cold.
Is it working?
It is working.
Yeah, I told you they're good mugs.
Very
Hey,
happy.
Yes.
and we got a what you drinking from a caller.
Oh, good.
This is a what you drinking and favorite stand-up comedian baseball figure. To quote one of my four favorite left-handed catchers, you can't go wrong with the original True Kolsch, said Marty Brown.
Ah,
Absolutely.
Marty doesn't even know he said that.
No.
Yeah.
Marty Brown. He's on a drinking assignment.
Yeah. Didn't Marty leave us a note, Rob?
Well, he left us one. I don't know if you want to play it now, or I guess we
Yeah,
could.
let's play it. Let's see what
We'll
it says.
slide it right in there.
This is Marty Brown on special assignment, researching the effects of massive alcohol intake in a high mountain environment. I'll have to get back to you on the details.
Boy, Marty.
I believe Marty's from Reno.
Sounded like he was in the women's bathroom at the casino. Which
Yeah, it's
checks
all
out.
about the acoustics. All about the acoustics.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we're drinking. Almanac makes many, many fine beers. And again, it's not hyperbole to say that they are one of America's leading craft brewers. They're great touch at making really flavorful beers that are still easy to drink and easy to enjoy. So please stop by the brewery, check them out. Tell them you heard about them from the Highlights from Lowlife show, and they may take pity upon you.
Where's that brewery?
Alameda, California.
Oh.
These guys are really good, folks. You
Yep.
got to stop by and get some of this.
Yes, I guess we'll have to do another show from the brewery so Terry can go with us.
I can't
yeah.
wait. I missed that one. Sorry.
Oh, man. Let's do it. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Those guys were very gracious.
That's awesome.
Let's go to a round three. Chair, who's starting this round?
How about Teddy Bear?
Oh, all right. Well, my number three is just like Rob's. What was you? You did number 5 with him, but Mark Grant, he was the pitcher for the Giants and the Padres, like Rob said, and he was my coach along with Wendell Kim. So I had him every day for a week in the dugout and afterwards and at dinners and things like that. And he is an absolutely funny guy. He could do a great Harry Carey imitation with the black glasses and the whole bit, and the missing toothbrush act. I was actually scared when he was hollering. I was on the other side of the locker room when he was doing that, and I could hear him hollering. And then as he came up the row, I mean, everybody's eyes are really big. He's cussing and stomping up a storm. And then as he went past us, we all just started busting up when we saw that toothbrush. It was great. So and he'll recognize you. He'll remember you. I remember we were playing a tournament in San Diego, and Lynn and I went to the Padres game, and we got there really early so we could see Grant in the broadcast booth, and we hollered up, "Hey, Mud!" And he leans way out over the booth and says, "Hey, you guys, how you doing?" He remembered us. So anyway, he's just a funny guy. He looks like he has fun doing all kinds of stuff. So that's my number 3.
Excellent.
Terry, what do you got for number 3?
All right. I'm not sure about this, but the Kung Fu Panda, Pablo Sandoval,
Ooh.
seems like somebody who would be a great stand-up comic. Maybe in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
but let's see. He played for the Giants. He's from Venezuela. He played third base, catcher, and first base.
Very good.
Just seems like a really happy guy. Good energy, fun, and he's what is he? He's a cute guy. So he's yeah, he's easy to watch and laugh, and he sounds like he's a kind of comedian that would laugh at himself.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, he just got married,
Oh, wow.
Huh.
and
Again?
he has lost all that weight we used to make fun of. He's now a pretty trim guy.
Oh, she can't cook, huh?
I don't know.
A lot of takeout there at the Panda House.
um,
He does.
well,
He looks like he has
oh,
fun, Terry. He looks like he has fun playing baseball.
Yes, he does.
I think you would.
Yeah.
Robbie.
All right, perfect segue. This is one of my modern guys. Very few guys ever seem like they were enjoying their time on the baseball field as much as this guy. And it's sort of like a duo comedy act. There's been Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello. And um, my main guy I'm going to talk about here is Adrian Beltre.
Oh,
But
yeah.
his comedy partner was Elvis Andrews, the shortstop, and Beltre, of course, playing third base. Together, they were hilarious. I feel like they could put something together that would just be comedy gold. But I specifically remember there was a time when Beltre was trying to get a look at the pitcher. He's on deck and he snuck way over and he's getting pretty close behind home plate while the game is going on. And the umpire finally says, "Go back to your on deck circle." Beltre went over and got the on deck mat and dragged it over where he was standing and stood on the mat. And then with Elvis Andrews, they Andrews was always busting Beltre's chops. And it always inevitably ended up with Beltre throwing his glove at Andrews. And there's videos on YouTube where he's throwing his glove at him during a pitching change. He's throwing a glove during infield warm-ups. He throws his glove at him in the dugout. There's even after a play ended on the field where Beltre was getting ready to field an easy ground ball and throw to first. Andrews cut him off and threw the ball to first base. Beltre threw his glove at him then right there on the field. And then there was a walk-off hit where Andrews came on the field. I guess Beltre was getting interviewed by the local reporter for the Rangers, and Andrews came on the field with the Gatorade bucket, and Beltre saw him out of the corner of his eye and ran over and picked up the grounds crew rake and chased like for 35 seconds all over the infield, chased Andrews with the rake, swinging at him.
That's
And then
funny.
pretty much if you've ever watched them, if there was a pop-up to the left side, they would stare each other down who was going to catch the pop-up and then argue about it after every time. And it became such a tradition at Rangers Stadium that at Adrian Beltre's retirement number, somebody threw a ball up in the air and Beltre and Andrews were glaring at each other from yeah,
Hey,
Beltre
didn't he get kicked out of the game for moving that
for
on
moving
deck
the
mat?
bat. Yeah. And
Yeah.
even the announcer's like, come on.
I know.
He's just being funny. But yeah,
Yep.
that guy, he played really hard and he laughed really hard. And I love that. So
Yeah,
Adrian
that's
Beltre.
good. He
Yep.
had fun time playing baseball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it
That,
just goes to show no umpires are on our lists.
yeah. Luciano could have made it maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
All
agree.
right. Well, Webby, I think that leaves it to you to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with another reliever turned announcer. Again, I really didn't have any idea that this guy was so funny until he got on the air. Larry Anderson, the Phillies
Ooh.
announcer for many years.
Yep.
Larry pitched with 6, 7 teams in the big leagues. It seems like if you listen to a Phillies game, it seems like his goal is to make the play-by-play guy laugh so hard
He
that
can't talk.
he can't do his job. And you know it's working well when the pitcher throws 2 or 3 pitches in, and there's nobody saying a word. And then in the background, you hear a snicker. The lead announcer is trying to compose himself to get back to laughing again, but he can't. He's sitting there right next to the guy that made him laugh, and you can tell they're goofing around up there and having a good time. And I still don't believe it takes away from the game. I think it's fun. It's all good natured, and um, uh, if you're watching on TV, you can see what's happening. You don't necessarily need these guys interpreting every single pitch. So to know that they're having fun, that makes it more fun for me to watch. So if you get a chance, check out Larry Anderson. Look for him on YouTube as a Phillies announcer. Very funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Really
you're watching
funny
a
guy.
ball game, you want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't take away from the game at all.
No.
Mm-mm.
And if your team's not doing so good, you better pep it up.
There's a lot to be said for that. I mean, if you're in a pennant race, you know, everybody can be in the World Series on day one, but some teams are eliminated by the All-Star break, but
Yep.
they still can play those games. So
They got to entertain themselves somehow.
How about
Gotta have fun.
Yeah.
just and Weber, as a Cubs fan, you got to appreciate in 1963 when the Cubs came out on the field on day one and the sign said "Wait till next year" on opening day.
Opening day.
Hey,
Opening day.
and as a Giants fan, I mean, you guys, I moved here to the Bay Area in 1975, and I was trying to find the baseball game on the radio. And back in those days, the two radio announcers for the Giants were Art Ekman, who used to be the Cron 4 sports guy,
Yep.
and Al Michaels.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Oh.
And Al
No Lon
Michaels.
Simmons?
No, this was Al Michaels on the radio,
Wow.
and he was saying, "Fans, there's 3,700 people here tonight at Candlestick Park for a Major League Baseball game. I'm not saying the Giants are good, but you got to come out here because you're going to see things you've never seen before on a baseball field.
Yeah.
You got to come out." So they knew they were bad, but they were, you know, bad is still entertaining.
Yeah.
All right, I think we finished round 3.
Yeah,
We did.
All right, Brent, start us off.
On 4? Cool.
Yeah,
Two.
You're
Two.
number 2.
Or my number 2. He was there on my rookie camp and was in charge of Kangaroo Court. And he was in charge of giving us nicknames while we were there. It's former Giants catcher Mike Sadek.
Oh.
Actually, we did some stupid stuff, and he was there, and he had such quick wit. He came up with the names right there on the spot. So it wasn't hard for him to give us nicknames. But he was a kick. He was the Giants' version of Bob Uecker. And we lost Mike way too soon, but he was a great guy. And while I knew him, he was a funny man, and he seemed to have a great fun time while he was playing. It was fun to know Bob, or excuse me, know Mike at the ballpark. We were there, and Lynn was with me, my sister, and on the very first day, he came rolling up in his golf cart, jumps out, slaps my sister on the butt, and says, "Have a good game," just like one of the boys. And then he looked at me like, "Are you going to do something?" I said, "No, that's baseball. Slap him on the butt and go." So anyway, Mike Sadek, he's a good guy.
Did
Mono-
you earn a nickname from him that year?
I did not. I don't think I did anything that stupid to
to earn one.
yeah.
Oh,
How
I
about
beg.
Lynn? How about Lynn?
You've done plenty of stupid things.
Well, yeah, since then.
Don't sell
But not in
yourself
front
short.
of Mike.
I mean, you're here, right?
Yeah.
There's
It's always a good time.
Montefusco told a story about Sadek that after Sadek hit his first major league home run,
Yeah.
he went into the trainer room and basically took all of Barney Nugent's tape, and he was doing this between innings. He put arrows down with the tape from the dugout all the way down the hallway through the clubhouse up to his locker, and then drew a Q on the
Oh, I
ground
see.
with the tape, and then put press one at a time with the tape.
Oh, wow.
And so when the game ended, he ran back to his locker and just sat there in front of this thing that says press one at a time and had the whole line, but all the arrows led to his locker.
See, he was a good guy. He could do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could. Okay,
All right,
Webby, what do you got for your next one?
All right, another announcer. And this guy might have taken the humor a bit too far.
Mm.
So the luster's worn off a bit on his career, but maybe for the better. I was a Cub fan, and I got to see Mark Grace play, but Mark Grace started a second career in announcing and was a longtime announcer for the Diamondbacks. Very funny, very dry sense of humor on the air. Great at letting people letting them know what was actually going on the baseball field. You know, what do you think that first baseman is saying to that runner right now? And
Right,
Mark would
right.
provide his analysis of that, which was always very funny. What are they talking about? Oh, restaurants, you know, who's the next hot girl in the stands? You look over in section 103. So that was always fun to watch. But apparently, Mark had a drinking problem. I believe he was caught drunk driving, and the Diamondbacks. They cut ties with him as an announcer, but I think they kept him on the payroll because they wanted to make sure that he got well and that he went through with his you know treatment program, whatever he went into. Don't know what he's doing now. Don't know if he's doing like community affairs or something like that. But he is not on the air anymore. So, which is a little sad because very funny guy. So that's my number 2 pick.
Cool.
When the one Pebble Beach Pro-Am I went to, Mark Grace was playing, and he'd get up to the tee box and line up a shot and then turn around and go, "You guys got to make some noise. I'm a baseball player. This quiet thing is killing me."
Too quiet.
Yeah,
That's
he did
good,
it.
yeah.
I ended
I
up
like
following
that.
him for like 5 holes, and he did it every tee box. Like, "I'm a baseball player. Come on, make some noise."
That's
Oh,
good.
anyway.
All right, Chair, what do you got?
All right. The next guy that I have, my number 2, Boston Red Sox, Montreal Expos. He's an all-star in 73. He's actually from San Rafael, still lives in San Rafael. He lives in Marin County, went to USC. Bill Spaceman Lee.
Oh, yeah.
And did you happen to know that his auntie was Annabelle Lee, the pitcher from the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League?
Wow.
I had no idea.
I did not know that.
Either.
He says she was the best athlete in the family. She taught me how to pitch. Yeah, he's the what does he claim? He's the oldest pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, 75 years old, still
Something like
playing,
that.
still playing semi-pro, I guess.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's the oldest semi-pro pitcher in baseball. That's what he says. Yeah, he's a
Hey,
really
Robbie.
funny guy. I
Wow.
met him in a Florida camp, and I was totally impressed with him and his energy and attitude and his love for fun and baseball.
Him and Frank Weishauer.
Yeah.
Another
Hey,
live
Robbie,
wire.
Robbie, my buddy Danny, he's from Canada.
Right.
It's like he sent in something about Bill Lee earlier. Can you play that one in?
Oh, you betcha, eh?
Don't
Hey,
say-
Lowlifes.
Sorry.
You probably already have Bill the Spaceman Lee on your list, but my favorite quip from him is when he left Boston for my team, the Expos, who I grew up with, back in '82. And he said, and I quote, "Who wants to be with a team that will go down in history alongside the '64 Phillies and the '67 Arabs?" And then also, who else calls his manager a gerbil? I love that guy.
I love it.
That's Bill Lee, Bill Spaceman Lee.
So he's referring to Don Zimmer, who had a face like a gerbil. So
Yeah. Yeah, Bill Lee is like the George Carlin of baseball comedians.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a different
Also-
plane, a different way of looking at things.
Yeah.
He personalized the EFIS pitch.
I mean,
Yeah.
remember when they asked him about what he thought about AstroTurf? He goes, "Well, you can't smoke it."
All right, Tara, who's up next?
Yeah, why don't you go, Webb?
I did.
I
Oh,
think
why
it's
don't
just me, huh?
Why don't
I
you
think
go,
it's Robbie.
Robbie?
All right.
Am I
Mine,
supposed to-
my,
am I supposed to pay attention?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's okay.
my guy at number 2 is definitely one of the funniest ball players in the more recent era. Always good for a quip. Andy Van Slyke.
Oh yeah.
And just some great examples. And Andy Van Slyke, he had that little smile, that little twinkle in his eye. A lot of you knew it was tongue in cheek. A lot of what he was saying, like when he got in a fight with Barry Bonds, and he says, "I just wanted to show Barry that I respected him in a certain way." And with the Cardinals, he came up as a third baseman, and they said they wanted him to play third base like Brooks, and he said, "Well, I did play like Brooks, Mel Brooks." Also, when he was in St. Louis, he said he had an Alka-Seltzer bat. Plop, 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 fizz, fizz. When the pitcher sees me coming out, what a relief it is.
It is.
Then, but he hit his stride when he hit when he got traded to the Pirates. Both as a professional athlete, he became a really great player. But he also got funnier. My favorite quote. I'm going to shoot it first. The favorite quote from Andy Van Slyke. He goes, "If someone from Germany who knew nothing about baseball came to America and came to a baseball game and saw John Kruk playing first base, they'd think, 'How did the beer driver get here?'" And then lastly, when talking about the difference between the Cardinals and the Pirates there in the late 80s, he said when the Cardinals, when he got to the locker room every morning with the Cardinals, everybody'd be reading the business section to see where their stocks were doing. When he got to the Pirates, everybody'd be reading the sports section to see if Hulk Hogan won last night.
Little
Very
different crowd.
Yeah. So yeah, Andy Van Slyke, very funny guy. That's my number. That's my number 2.
Good.
All right. Okay, we've completed 4 rounds. Rob, what happens next?
It's a segment of the show I like to call. This is where we love Mic'd Up. Mic'd Up's been great for us, but this is where Rob talks about other shows on Mic'd Up and get another beer, use the restroom, whatever you need to do. You got
Well,
some time.
if you insist.
Yeah.
My goal is to keep this under 3 minutes. Again, you're watching this on the Mic'd Up Network. At the bottom of your screen is a microphone, and if you want to,
Are you done?
please do, join us and let us know what your thoughts are about tonight's topic. Just hit that little microphone, and you get 30 seconds to leave us your comments about the show. If you need more time, send us 2 messages. It's not that bad, you know. That's what JC does. He's sending us
3.
5 messages.
Or 5.
It looks like we have a huge audience, so it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, are you calling JC huge? I'm defending you, JC.
Yeah.
All right, there's a few other shows on the network. We are a proof of concept show, as Mic'd Up is trying to sell into large sports organizations and teams. So Jim Darby, a former executive with Easton Sports and Mizuno Sports, he has a show every other week, and he talks about his the things that he saw and the people he met during his time at Easton. He's also an accomplished author who's written a couple of books about the Cal Bears and players that have reached the big leagues that went through the Cal program. Jim is devoting his next show, which is on January 8th, to talk about his good friend Ricky Henderson, who recently passed away. Jim's done a show about Ricky before, but this will be a few more stories that he wasn't able to fit into the first program. So that'll be a fun watch. John Rieger has a show about the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, and that talks about folks whose careers in sports took them through the state of Florida, whether that be collegiately or professionally, and they were voted into the Hall of Fame. He interviews folks like Wade Boggs and Fred Biletnikoff and Jan Stevenson. It's a fun listen. John hasn't been on in a while, but we should be getting some shows back on the air here pretty soon. In the upcoming section, you're going to see some shows from AJ Robner. AJ has a show called The Robner Report, and AJ has several shows going at the same time. He has one about hockey with his friend Steve. He's got one about New York Knicks with his friend Joseph. And then he's got an ongoing show with a few folks about the New York Giants, who scored 45 points last week and won a game, which puts their number one pick in jeopardy for the NFL draft. But
Yes, yeah.
so great time. Now we have a couple of new shows that I want you to keep an eye on. There's one called Ask Aaron and EJ. This is Aaron Thigpen, former Olympic sprinter, and Eric Johnson, EJ, former San Francisco Giants infielder from the mid 90s. And they do a show about the impact of rulings on youth sports, high school and college. So that this week they're talking about the idea that somebody can extend their college career to 6 years rather than 4, and what the impact will be on high school and college athletics. They have their first show on the network will be on the 3rd. So take a look in the upcoming for that. And then another show that premiered last week is Chris Hull's show about the English Premier League in soccer. Chris is from the UK, but he has recruited a couple of Soccer Hall of Fame members from the United States, Dave Johnson and Bruce Murray, and they talk about the EPL and its impact on America. There's a lot of fans here who are soccer fans that they're into the MLS, but they really like the EPL because the play is better in that league. So they will have a regular Saturday show. Look for it in the upcoming. It's called the English Premier League Saturday Soccer Show. So that's what we got. All right, Rob, that was 2 minutes and 49 seconds.
Is that it? Is that the only shows you want to talk about?
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Wow.
We got to get our favorites in. Sorry. Our favorite show, other than our own, Yankees Coast to Coast. Mike Miller and Adam Schneider yell at each other for an hour every week about what the Yankees need to do to become better. They're actually agreeing with each other, but it's their nature to yell at each other. So come take a listen. They are usually on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific. So,
Eastern.
Oh, sorry.
Eastern.
That's right. 7 p.m.
Eastern.
Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So take a listen. All right. There we go. Are you happy, Rob? You want me to talk about anything else?
Sweet mother of God, what is the holdup?
All right, pick somebody, Webby.
Round one. This is your number one pick for the top 5 baseball personalities who would make good stand-up comedians. I think that Terry should start off this round.
Yeah.
I laugh because that's the first time we've actually mentioned the topic for the whole 45 minutes.
I
Sorry,
said it at the beginning of the show.
sorry. Well, yeah, but anybody who jumps on and doesn't really know what's going on needs a little refresher.
All right, we'll put a graphic up next
All
month.
right, my number one, what you said about the baseball players who should probably go into stand-up comedy. Uh, Teddy Bear, I don't know if you remember Terry Kennedy.
Oh,
He's a giant from
yes.
89 to 91. He was in the 89 World Series, the Earthquake Series,
Uh-huh.
as a catcher.
Yep.
And wow, what a quick wit and funny guy he was.
Well, catchers are pretty
Or is.
smart.
Well, besides getting knocked about the head quite often. And he has like four brothers. He's the youngest of four brothers. He's from Ohio or something like that. He's the funniest guy. We loved him so much we pushed him up into the booth during the it was the pro game, I think, just
Oh.
to commentate and just be himself. We had a ball. He was so funny. Terry Kennedy.
Oh, nice. That's a good one, Terry.
Do you remember him? Do you remember him, Teddy Bear?
A little bit, yes.
He's not a real popular uh, fantasy camp coach, but he did come. I think he made it for a couple of years a year after I saw him. God, he's just the funniest, nicest, really super nice guy. Really down home country boy.
Ah, good pick.
All right, Teddy Bear,
Oh,
number
all
one.
right. Okay. Well, he was also a coach for me. Well, no, wasn't a coach for me, but he was at camp when I was there. Dave Haverlow, the tuna, the pitcher for the Giants and the A's and the Mariners. He kind of took over for Mike Sadek as the judge of Kangaroo Court. And if he was to be a comedian, it would have to be an adult only nightclub. As his humor and his way of presenting it was a little bit non PC.
Well, depends on
to
the
put it,
amount of alcohol he gets. It
yeah,
goes
to put it
darker and
mildly.
darker.
Yeah, he was funny anyway, and you kind of had to have a thick skin when he was picking on you, but everybody had a good laugh at your expense or his expense because he was a little bit self-deprecating. Um, I remember he said, and he is a pretty big guy, and they said he used to shave his head before it was popular, and they said he always used to pick a uniform number that was like something that you don't expect the person to make the major leagues with when they came out of spring training. But he said he comes out to us at the meet and greet one time. He says, "I got good news and bad news to tell you guys," and he's pretty rotund. And he says, "I've got the doctor told me I got this flesh eating disease." He says, that's the bad news. He says, the good news is it's going to take 50 years to eat me. But that's my number one is tuna.
That's hilarious. I told him at camp once that I liked his self-defecating humor.
Yeah.
He bought me a beer.
Sweet.
Was that you said
Self-
defecating? Yeah.
Self-deprecating.
Whammy, what you got for number one?
Just a sidebar. He was the commish
Yes.
in my rookie year in 03.
Oh, okay.
And how many years have you been to camp, Teddy Bear?
This will
Or
make
what was your rookie year?
my rookie year was 2000.
Oh, 2000.
Yes. And this when I go to camp, it'll make I think it's 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That,
That's right.
Your pick.
All right.
yeah.
Let
Webby, go
me give
for
you
it.
the number one pick. This guy has just, I believe, completed his playing career. Maybe it isn't his choice, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop up on some telecast or broadcast here soon. He is just so funny. Joey Votto,
Yeah.
He's a good, funny guy.
former
He
Cincinnati
is.
Red,
I like Joey. He's on my
spent
honorable
last
mention.
year with the Blue Jays organization trying to hang on, maybe a little bit too long, but he is the favorite guy for announcers to interview. He came dressed to one interview that he had with MLB Channel in because he's Canadian. He came dressed in a full Mountie uniform costume.
Red jacket and a hat.
Yeah, he had everything. He looked like Dudley Do Right. He, he was there to talk about all of the virtues of Canadians in the United States, and his teammates were in the background just dying laughing. And he was feigning anger at the MLB broadcasters for continuing to introduce him as Canadian Joey Votto instead of just simply Joey Votto. Very, very funny man. He's the type of guy, as a first baseman, there'd be a foul ball over to the right side of the field, and it's into the stand, but he'd run over to the front row and take a handful of popcorn out of some kid's box that they're having popcorn in. And the kid's looking, oh my God, you can do that? But I fully expect to see him on some broadcast here soon. And I think that would be a treat for anyone to listen to. So he's my number one.
You see, like that last year with the Reds, when he would go into the stands, he was on the injured list, and he'd go in the stands and just sit with the fans. He was sitting in different sections of the park, buying people beer and hot dogs. Like,
That would be awesome.
yeah, are you kidding?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, so let's see, Robbie, what do you got?
This should surprise no one that knows me. Jonesy, if he's listening, is already doing this. And I do want to say, I think we all avoided Bob Uecker because we thought that was the obvious choice.
Yes.
So for me, the greatest stand-up comedian, baseball player of all time would have to be Rabbit Moranville. Rabbit Moranville once said that they asked him after he retired, he said, how's the game changed? And he said, well, there's a lot less drinking in baseball since I left. One time during an on-field brawl, the bench is empty. There's a whole brawl going on. He ran out over by the first base coaching box and started having a fight with himself, and eventually knocked himself out. And it distracted so many people that the fight stopped and the whole stadium started laughing, and no one could remember who started the fight, so there was no ejections. More than one time after a bad call at home plate, he didn't like the strike call. He'd step out of the box and reach in his pocket and pull out a pair of glasses and hand them to the umpire. There was one time after a low pitch was called a strike that he stepped out of the box, adjusted everything, stepped back in, and then got down on his knees.
That would get you kicked out.
And my favorite story about Rabbit Moranville is that right after he got fired by the Cubs as their manager, he managed them for a while and got fired. The next day, he stood outside the stadium as a newsboy with carrying newspapers going, extra, extra, read all about it. Moranville fired by Cubs. So yeah, Rabbit Moranville, that's my guy. That's my number one.
Good pick.
Good job.
Knew it was coming.
Did everybody get choice this round?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. We may have some honorable mentions to discuss, but I think we need to get to our viewers.
There you go.
Indeed.
Let's hear the call-ins.
Here we go. Number 5.
JC with my number 5, Dave the Tuna Haverlow.
Yeah.
A very large relief pitcher for the A's and Giants. Said, the bad news is I have that flesh-eating disease. The good news is, at my size, it will take 35 years to eat me. JC continuing at number 4, Edgar Lomas Bailey, catcher for the Reds and Giants and several other teams, said, I came out of Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, went to the University of Tennessee, spent 2 terms there. Truman's and Eisenhower's.
So this came in. Mine didn't come in order of when the messages were left. So this one came in. This was, I believe, intended for after the segment between number 2 and number 1, where Rob talks about mic'd up.
Okay.
Hey, that's 2 minutes and 57 seconds you'll never get back in your life. JC with number 3. Joe Madden, former manager,
Oh yeah.
offered reporters a shot and a beer when they came into his office. When asked what his goals for the Rays were, he said, "Try not to suck." JC with number 2. Couldn't leave Bob Uecker off the list.
Yeah.
This light-hitting backup catcher was a legendary announcer. And at his Hall of Fame induction, he deadpanned, "I still say I should have gone in as a player." JC, my number 1 is Mike the Sheik Sadek. Very good at improvisation. At the cocktail party before camp started, he looked at the list and then he said, "Will Richard Hertz, Richard Burns, and Michael Hunt please stand up?" Then he said, "Dick Hertz, Dick Burns, and Mike Hunt."
That only got a yellow flag. So
good.
good for you, JC.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
That's our callers.
Well, my favorite Euchre story, and I know we kind of talked about the idea that we everybody would put Euchre on their list.
Absolutely.
So let's
Yeah.
do the one outside of that. But there is a picture online of it's the Cardinals team photo, and it's
Oh, yeah.
from the 60s or so, and Euchre is sitting next to legendary Hall of Famer Bob Gibson in the photo. And right before the snapshot of the photo, Euchre grabbed Gibson's hand. They both smiled, and the picture was taken. They thought for sure that it would be kicked out of the system.
Oh yeah.
And upon review, it got through, and that is the official Cardinals team photo for that.
Wow.
7 or 68. You can find it online.
Yeah.
You don't see Bob Gibson smiling very much, but he was smiling there with Euchre holding his hand. All right. Any other honorable mentions?
Well, you
I've
know-
got
Go ahead.
Miguel Cabrera.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
funny guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I put him on the list just because of the annex he pulls out on the field with, like, going after a foul ball into the stands, and he can't reach the ball, but he leans over and grabs a handful of popcorn out of the
Oh, yeah,
fans'
just
bucket.
yeah.
Or when the other players reach first base, he's playing first base, and he's kind of a threat to steal. He'll reach over and tug his jersey right out of the back of his waistband, or he'll take his hat off and mess his hair up, and put his hat back on, just to mess with it, just to mess with it. Yeah.
Rob, you were talking earlier about pranksters that not only are stealth about the prank, but also get it blamed on somebody else.
Oh God, that's so good.
Do you remember the Jay Johnstone? Steve Garvey liked everything to be absolutely perfect on his uniform. Everything had to be just right. And Jay Johnstone put a fresh, hot chocolate brownie into Steve Garvey's first baseman's mitt. And while all of that was going on, he wiped some of the chocolate off on Jerry Royce's pants. So Garvey, at the end of the inning, grabbed his glove and ran out onto the field and stuck his hand in, and immediately, did not find the humor. And looked back in the dugout, and there's Jerry Royce with chocolate on his pants, and actually went after him. They had to be separated and the whole thing, and
Oh,
and
wow.
I guess it was weeks later that he finally found out that everybody found out that Jay Johnstone had done it. So
It's good.
yeah,
And
that's pretty good.
those of us that know Garvey say, oh yeah, it's perfect
Yeah.
for him, mess with his Mr. Clean persona. Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Clean persona, yeah. He lives up here in West Sacramento. Yeah. He was
John Stone
running
or
for.
Garvey?
I had Hunter Pence and Bill Murray on my
Wait. Brent,
also ran.
who lives up near you? Is it Garvey or John
Steve
Stone?
Garvey.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Jay Johnstone passed.
Yeah.
COVID.
Steve
Long
Garvey
COVID.
was running
Long
for
COVID.
Wow.
Steve Garvey was running for a position here in the government here. He was on the ballot.
And lost.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
Just like his 84 Padres.
Pretty much. Probably by a little bit more.
Yeah. And I had Joe Garagiola too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just, I mean, I could go on and on about Garagiola, but the one line, watching Dick Hall pitch for the Orioles, and I guess Dick Hall had a really elaborate windup and elaborate follow through, and and Joe Garagiola said that Dick Hall falls off the mound like a drunk kangaroo on roller skates. Yeah, so I got to mention Garagiola for that.
Yeah, like cows on ice skates. Yeah.
Okay, Brent, what you were mentioning Hunter Pence?
Yeah, I had Hunter Pence on my honorable mention list. He just looks like he has fun playing and giving speeches to the team, and I bet he could be a funny guy. And I also had did Bill Murray actually play a game for the Cubs?
No.
No. Okay, that was just a promotional thing.
Yeah, Will Ferrell played a bunch
Oh,
of training games. We could have used him.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. Hey, any others?
Any honorable mentions? No? Okay.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thanks for joining us for episode 71 of Highlights from Lowlifes. We'll be back here next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific with another show about another topic. Robbie is modeling his almanac can. So
Right. Take care of Almanac, they'll take care of you.
I'm sending the hugs.
Yes.
Just zap.
Hey, that's good stuff.
That's right.
Good stuff.
All right. Thanks
Cheers,
again.
everybody.
It's out, Robbie.
Highlights from
Hey,
Lowlifes.
who's the artist there?
Highlights
Shelby Ann, singer-songwriter. Look her up, shelbyannmusic.com.